Thank you for coming tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about how to start a church choir. Many of you have discussed that, you've talked about it, you're in a church where you don't have a choir. And so tonight I'm going to hopefully give you some information, some instruction on how that you can start a church choir when you do not have one. My background, just to give you a little information about who I am have been the music director for 33 years at Beacon Baptist Church up until this last June. During that time, I had a choir that started at 25 when I came and grew to about 80 voices that sang on a regular basis. I was able to direct a number of dramas and musicals throughout the year with full choir and sometimes with full drama with costumes and sets and all of those things during the year. Also, I was a coordinator for all of the special music for our church. We have about 700 people on a Sunday morning, and I was in charge of all the special music, the offertories, everything that took place in our Sunday morning service, our Sunday night service, our Wednesday evening service. And then I had the privilege of starting and directing an orchestra. We had about 15 pieces in our orchestra that played on Sunday morning, and so that was kind of one of the highlights of our ministry as well. So how do you begin? How do you begin a choir program when you have nothing that is going on? Well, the very first thing that I think you need to do in any area of ministry is you need to begin with prayer. You need to ask God for direction. You need to ask God for wisdom. You need to ask God to bless the endeavor that you're going to do, because the music ministry really is a very vital part of the entire worship service. And it is a preparation for the preaching of God's Word. So you want to begin with prayer. You don't want to do anything out of self-glory. You want to be able to honor the Lord in all that you do. So you want to begin with prayer. The next thing that you would want to do is you'd want to advertise this. And there's a number of ways that you can do that within your church. The very first way that is very easy is if your church has a bulletin, you want to be able to advertise it in the bulletin, telling them which ages that you are considering to be a part of the choir, and you can tell them when practices are going to be, well, maybe even when you're going to be singing, if it's going to be just a Sunday morning or a Sunday night or whenever the choir is going to sing. So use your bulletin. In our church, we use our bulletin for just about everything that's going to be advertising. It's a real great key that we're able to use. Also, you will want to go around to the Sunday school departments of the people that would be involved in that ministry of the choir. Whatever age group you decide your choir should be, go to those departments, advertise it, promote it, build some excitement through the Sunday schools for your people to be involved. And of course, you will want to announce it in your church services. You'll be wanting to get the word out to those that maybe are not in a small group or in a class. So make sure that you announce it in your church services. And then you will want to ask people personally. If you know people that are musical, you know people that maybe already sing or have sung in the past, have been in a choir, maybe your church had a choir or no longer does, and you know those certain people, you want to target them and you want to work on those. One of the greatest things that you can do after you've advertised is you need to take an inventory of what you have and find out how many voices that you're going to have, what parts you might be able to do, how far you're going to be able to go. Maybe you're only going to be able to sing 2 parts. Maybe you can do 3. Maybe you'll be fortunate enough to do a 4-part choir. But you need to take inventory. And I think one of the things, and I found this cute cartoon that I think is pretty average of most churches, but when you're putting the music program together, you have a lot of different people that you have to combine together. And in this cartoon that we see over here, you see that we have 3 big mamas in the soprano section. You have a sandpaper throated midget in the tenor section. You have 2 prima donnas among the altos and a bass with halitosis. You have an antique organist, and you have 2 jealous fighting pianists. And you have to take that inventory and that group of people, and you have to build a music ministry around. So take inventory of what you have. Too many times I've seen people that have tried to do more than what they have. Work with what you have, start where you're at, and build it from that point, and make it the best that it can possibly be. So take inventory. And then you need to set up a time for your first practice. In your advertisement, in all of your discussion about the choir, tell them when the first practice is going to be. Build it up, advertise it, make it something that's going to be exciting for the church, and plan your first practice, the date that you're going to have it. So after you've got all of that in place, then you need to go towards finding music. And the question is, how do you find music? Where do you find music? Well, there's a lot of resources that are out there, and there's a number of places. And I've given just a few of the websites here for the different music companies. You have Lifeway, you have Lilinas, you have Praise Gathering, you have Word Music. All of those have a lot of choir music. They have it in various parts for a 2-part or 3-part or a 4-part choir. Some are very easy, some are difficult, and so you have a vast variety, and you can visit their websites and you can see it. Sometimes you can even hear a preview of some of the songs that are in the selections as well. And most of these also offer a choir club that you can be a part of that will send you music so that you can preview it on a regular basis. All of those are great ways of trying to find music. Also, you can talk to people that have choir. They can recommend some different music that works for their choir that would help you in your selection of the music. So you've advertised, you've prayed about it, you now have gone and tried to look for music. So now you're ready for your first choir practice. The first thing that you need to do is you need to pick your music. And I have given a suggestion of a very easy choir book that we have used. It's got great music. It's a book that all the arrangements are not the same, so it gives a nice variety, and it's called the 30-Minute Choir Book. There are a number of volumes of these, but this is the first one. It's got songs in it like Indescribable, which people would understand, or they've heard it, or they know that song. Here I Am to Worship with Draw Me Close to You. It also has Forever with Everlasting God, along with about 17 other songs. This would be a great collection to start with. Now it tells us that it's 30 minutes, and meaning that you're supposed to be able to practice in 30 minutes, but most choirs have to take a little bit longer than that, but not a whole lot longer. So this is a great place to start. So pick the songs that you want. Pick 2 or 3 weeks in advance, or however many you're going to go, and find your music. When you get to practice, go over 2 or 3 weeks of music. Begin by playing the song with the voices so people will hear the song that you're singing. They may not be familiar with it, but as they hear it and they hear the melody, they can sing along with that. And then you'll progress to taking the voices out. Most of the tracks that we have nowadays are split tracks. So you can have the voices in, you can take the voices out for performance. So go over about 2 or 3 weeks worth of choir. Then you may have to go and play some parts. Hopefully you will have a piano player, someone that can pick out the parts. Maybe you'll have to do that, but hopefully there'll be somebody that can assist you in that and help you with that so that they'll be able to know their parts. Sometimes they can't always hear it, and it's helpful to work on going over their parts. And then what I think is really important is you need to pick a date for the first time you're going to perform. No one likes to practice forever and never perform. So find the first date, make a big deal out of it, make it a big Sunday that the choir is going to sing, both with your choir and with your congregation, and make it a big deal that the choir's been working hard on a particular song and they're going to sing on this particular Sunday, and have them ready to go and ready to sing. But pick a date, and then decide how often you're going to sing. Maybe you'll sing at the beginning, maybe every other week, or maybe once a month, and then maybe you can move it more to more regular. But make sure that they're not just always practicing. Make sure that there's time for them to sing and being a part of the worship and help leading the worship in your church. So hopefully today this has helped you, that you've been able to get some ideas of how to start your choir, that you'll be able to begin a new ministry in your church that God will bless and that you'll be able to have as part of your worship service.